Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here, another Keys to Victory video for you guys. In regards to the same fight as I discussed before, the rematch between Andy Ruiz Jr. and Anthony Joshua. First video, we made a Keys to Victory video for Joshua. This video will be dedicated to Andy Ruiz Jr. So if you want to check out the first video before watching this video, it is on my channel. I believe it's my last video I made, so easy to find. Anyway, let's get into it. Keys to victory for Andy Ruiz Jr. Well, the first one is in regards to his weight. Obviously, as we know, Andy Ruiz Jr. isn't a body beautiful heavyweight. We all know that. And yes, arguably, he could do with losing a few pounds here and there. That's fair enough, but I really believe Andy Ruiz Jr. needs to avoid making this training camp a fat camp where he loses God knows how much weight in a short period of time. I really do believe that will be a detriment to him. For whatever reason, a lot of people are saying Ruiz Jr. needs to slim down a lot for this rematch. Well, what I say is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. In the first fight, despite weighing 268 pounds, Andy Ruiz Jr. was never in danger of gassing. He threw, punches in bunches. He threw hard shots throughout, and he didn't gas. I know Ruiz Jr. doesn't throw a ton of punches, but he is explosive and he throws punches in fast combinations, and that can take it out of you. And Ruiz Jr. managed his stamina perfectly fine in the first fight. Losing 20 pounds for this rematch for me would just be a risk not worth taking. Would his body be used to the new weight? Could he still take punches the same? Would his power be the same? There's a lot to consider with Andy Ruiz Jr. losing massive amounts of weight. I don't really feel the need to change too much in regards to the weight. Maybe he could come in a few pounds lighter, get closer to 260. But for me, I wouldn't really change too much in regards to the weight. As long as he's sparring well, doing the rounds, then I don't really see the need to change too much in regards to that. So all of the weight talk for me just needs to go out the window. I really don't think it's a factor with Andy Ruiz Jr. He's made it work for himself throughout his career. He's been this way his whole career, and he's been fairly successful. So why change it now? Potentially it could result in a shorter career, carrying all that weight. Yes, that's fair enough. But in regards to winning this one fight, I don't think it will do him any good losing a massive amount of weight. So let's leave the weight talk. The second thing I would like to see from Andy Ruiz Jr. in this fight is body work. Now, in the first fight, Ruiz Jr. got a lot of credit for his performance, and rightly so. He knocked out Anthony Joshua, who was unbeaten and held 3 titles. Massive victory. And he got a lot of credit for his performance, and rightly so. But one aspect of his performance that, in my opinion, went under the radar was his body work. A lot of people were distracted by the knockdowns, but a lot of the work Andy Ruiz Jr. was doing to the body was very effective, very subtle. He wasn't going gung-ho to the body, but he was picking his shots as Joshua was falling in, as Joshua was getting flat-footed. He was picking nice body shots here and there, and that really sucked the wind out of Anthony Joshua. We all know Joshua's gas tank is questionable to say the least. I think even the most ardent Anthony Joshua fan would agree. I believe Andy Ruiz Jr. needs to concentrate on that body again. In this rematch, don't go gung-ho, don't leave yourself open, but pick your spots here and there, land those good body shots, suck the wind out of Anthony Joshua like in the previous fight. For example, there was a round before Joshua got knocked out. I think it was round 6 in the first fight. And I believe the key punch in that fight, the one that really finished Anthony Joshua, was a straight right to the gut by Andy Ruiz Jr. in round 6. He threw a nice crisp right hand to the body of Anthony Joshua in round 6, and you could see that shot really sucked the life out of Anthony Joshua. I really believe that was the punch that sealed Anthony Joshua's fate, and it was a result of good body work throughout. That was the culminating point, I guess. So I believe Andy Ruiz Jr. needs to try and get to that body again. In the clinch, maybe sneak a few uppercuts in here and there. I fully expect Joshua to clinch more in this fight. If Ruiz Jr. can get a hand free, don't be scared to work that body. Also, I think we can expect Joshua to try and keep it long a lot more in this bout. Ruiz Jr. is a front foot counter puncher. He needs to be trying to slip under those long straight shots and then, counter to the body. These are the type of things Ruiz Jr. will need to do to get to that body. I don't expect Joshua to be quite so straight up and flat-footed in this fight. I think he will try to change some things. So getting to the body will be harder, but in the opportunities where the body presents itself, take those shots because I think they will be very effective. Ruiz Jr. really impressed me with his body work in the first fight. So in this second fight, I would like to see him keep that up, and I really believe that could be a key to success in this fight for him. Another area in which I would like to see Andy Ruiz Jr. try to exploit is Joshua's ego. Now, we mentioned this in the Keys to Victory video for Joshua. He needs to try and leave it at the door, but, I believe Joshua is going to try and box to a plan in this fight. He will try to box relatively safety first, and he will try to win by any means necessary, even if that means a boring fight. If that happens, or if that starts to happen, Andy Ruiz Jr. really needs to, throw Anthony Joshua out of that game plan by any means necessary, whether that is by goading him and making that ego come out, catching him with a big shot when the momentum switches, when Joshua's maybe boxing well for a few rounds. He can't afford to let Joshua box into his rhythm and get a foothold in this fight. If Joshua is boxing to plan for a couple of rounds, it's up to Ruiz Jr. to snap him out of that and make him fight with his heart rather than his head. And Ruiz can do that a number of ways, maybe goading Joshua. The best way would be, catching Joshua with a good shot, because if Joshua gets caught, he likes to come back and throw his own lever, so that's going to be his best chance. So if Ruiz is getting outboxed for a couple of rounds, he needs to make that decision whether he needs to step on the gas, maybe take a few more risks and try and put it on Joshua, or the alternative is to wait and see if he gasses. Well, I think that would be a terrible idea, because if Joshua is fighting at his pace, chances are he will not gas. Look at how he fought Joseph Parker. He went 12 rounds easily in that fight because it was fought at his pace. He was dictating it. So Ruiz Jr., what I'm trying to say is, he can't afford to let Joshua box at his pace for a prolonged period of time. He can't afford to do that. If Joshua is boxing in his rhythm, like I said, he really needs to snap him out of it ASAP. Joshua needs to be aware that Ruiz Jr. is on him throughout this fight. Joshua, he can't be made to be allowed to feel comfortable in this fight at all. If Ruiz Jr. can implement that type of game plan where Joshua feels uncomfortable from very early on, I believe he's got a great chance in this fight. I really do. And one more area where I would like to see Ruiz Jr. again capitalise on is Joshua's ineffectiveness to defend himself from guys who can punch on the front foot. Especially shorter guys. As we know, Ruiz Jr. is a shorter guy. He can punch going forwards, and that gave Joshua a lot of problems in the first fight. He needs to replicate that in this fight, because when Ruiz Jr. was punching as he was moving forwards, Joshua was doing a terrible job of defending himself against these attacks, because Joshua was just moving backwards with a terrible guard, chin in the air, and he was getting caught when Ruiz Jr. was punching on the front foot. And we've seen that in numerous fights against shorter men. Carlos Takam, Alexander Povetkin, even way back in the amateurs when Joshua got stopped against Nistor. A short guy who could punch on the front foot. Joshua really can't defend well against that style, so Ruiz Jr. really needs to bring that style into play in this fight. He can carry that style out effectively, as we saw in the first fight. He needs to bring it back for this second fight. And the last, subject I want to touch on for Andy Ruiz Jr. is again more on the mental side, and that is the mindset going into this fight. I really hope Andy Ruiz Jr. doesn't go into this rematch with the mindset that he's already made it, he's already financially secure, and whatever happens now is a bonus. I hope he doesn't go into the ring with that mindset. Hopefully he goes into the ring hungry and eager to prove the first fight wasn't a fluke, and eager to, go on a run defending his titles. Hopefully, he's got the hunger to be a long-reigning heavyweight champion who can make a few defences, because if he goes into the ring with the mindset of he's already made it and whatever happens from here is a bonus, then obviously that's not really a great attitude to go in the ring with, especially with a wounded animal like Anthony Joshua. So I think the mindset of Andy Ruiz Jr. going into this fight is very important, and it's certainly, in my opinion at least, a fascinating factor in regards to this fight. The mindset of both fighters, Joshua coming off his first loss and Ruiz Jr. coming off the biggest win of his career. There's a lot to consider, and it's an interesting fight. I will make a final prediction a bit nearer the time, but this was just a Keys to Victory video for Andy Ruiz Jr. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Please tell me what you think. If you did enjoy it, smash the like button. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you can think of any keys to victory for Andy Ruiz Jr. that I've missed or I've not considered, share them in the comments below. I will certainly read them. So thank you very much for listening. Peace.